Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I'm Elisa, here to do a reading. I've kind of slowed down on the readings lately because there's a lot going on in the world right now. It's just like very tumultuous, and so yeah, that's why I've kind of slowed down. But interesting. We got the Four of Swords and we got the Seven of Pentacles. So really, what I'm getting from this is like we're kind of taking a time out and we're thoughtfully considering like what needs to be weeded out so that we can kind of like grow, you know, like what needs to be weeded out so that we can sort of like build on the foundation that we have, you know, in a more fruitful way. When I pull this down, we get the Eight of Wands, we get the Prince of Cups, and we get Death. So it seems like there's some change that's going to happen. There's like an offer coming in, and it's going to change things up, you know. And so this person is kind of contemplating what's the most sort of productive path forward, you know, given their current circumstance. This is someone who's taking a time out. When I pull this, we have the Moon, Judgment, Page of Wands, and the King of Swords. So this looks like some kind of something that's been hidden, or maybe some kind of secret. Like judgment is being passed on this, and the truth is being revealed. So this is actually good news for this person. It's almost like they're getting liberated from whatever has been holding them back, which has been a theme that's been coming up in the readings that have been coming up lately. Like the last one definitely is going to be relevant, but it's like almost like they're finally being cut free, and so now they're like taking a time out to figure out, okay, now that I can actually move forward again, like what do I want to do, you know, how do I want to manage this? So that's kind of exciting. Oh my gosh. So when I go to the Mystical Shaman, we get completion and we get the Sacrifice. So that's really interesting because it's kind of a similar message. Like some cycle is coming to an end. Whatever this cycle is, like this person's been like held back, like having to learn a lesson, it seems like. But they're being released from that. And then this speaks to karma. So it's just sort of like whatever you put out comes back. So it's just like, it's almost like this person's gone through maybe like some kind of spiritual awakening, and whatever seeds that they've planted during this time, it's like coming to fruition, like it's coming back to them. So this can be good or bad, you know, depending on if you put good energy out or bad energy out, you know. But whatever it is, it's like it's gonna change, and a new cycle is starting. So okay, so we got frustration and determination. So that's pretty interesting because I think it's almost like there's two paths, you know, like there's so much tumult happening, and it's like people trying to hang on to the past and people who are trying to move forward, and there's all this chaos and this disruption and like judgments being passed, you know. And so like there's all these people crossing streams with different motivations. That's dysfunction, you know. And so it's like a really frustrating moment, you know. And so this is like underneath the determination we have success and growth. So it's like, I mean, we're gonna have to move through this frustrating time to get to the it's and we're gonna have to be creative to get around it. The guidance is here if we're open to it, but we're gonna have to like move through this, and that's gonna require determination. And the thing that just came to me, which came out in the other reading, is that I've, for whatever reason, been in the middle of watching the whole Rocky series, and like I think that's like a really good metaphor for like what's happening in the world right now, because there's so much dysfunction and it's so incredibly frustrating. But you kind of have to like be determined to move past that, and that's, I mean, that's really the kind of like underlying story of Rocky. It's just like a story of overcoming and focusing that energy on making yourself better to overcome whatever obstacles you might face, which is a classic human tale. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Curious Creatures, and we're gonna pick a few cards, see what's going on the ground. But yeah, this does seem like there have been readings pointing to a breakthrough that have been coming through recently, and it seems like that's sort of the moment we're in. It's happening in slow motion, but part of the breakthrough is having to move through a bunch of drama and chaos, because not everyone's going to be on the same page, and you have to really stay focused, especially during this time, to not get derailed by all these like opposing energies. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands. So this is like a passionate, fiery new start. The path is becoming clear. We're starting to see how we can move forward. So we have this King of Pentacles, someone who's successful, financially abundant, stable. But we have the Five of Wands, and we have the Devil. So what I'm getting from this is like there's a lot of conflict, because there's just really toxic energy that they could be jealous, they want to hold this person back because they want to win. It's just sort of like all the people who Rocky had to fight against. Like, everybody wants to win, but not everyone will, and so the people who are coming out with this clear path forward, they are probably going to encounter a bunch of resistance and have to fight through these opposing factions. Like, that's kind of the moment we're in. Like, this is a moment of conflict and tension, which precedes like every big change, and that's why we have to be determined to move through all this frustration, because I mean, that's just the way it works. You have to break through the barriers, so yeah, so it's a really difficult moment, but we're moving through the BS. So I'm gonna go to the angels and ancestors, see if we can get any guidance from our ancestors about how to move through this difficult moment. I mean, I think really staying focused on the future and trying not to get derailed and like have your energy hijacked by the negativity and the obstacles, because I mean, just know that this is part of the process on the road to freedom, like it's the way it goes. So in a weird way, it's like kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, so we have Broken Arrow, embrace the energy of peace, and Water Garden, connect with your emotions. So So that's really interesting because I think there's guidance coming in. So it's like really try to stay open to that. And like the trick to that is to stay in the energy of peace. Like try not to engage all the conflict because this is like other people's energy and conflict that they're just like acting out. But really, like, if you can stay connected to your emotions and be open to the guidance that's coming through, like that's what's gonna push you through all of this. So it's kind of like a trick, you know, because it's like you feel like you have to, you know, defend yourself against like all the stuff that's happening, but actually the most efficient way is to like focus on bettering yourself and staying open to your own destiny and like not getting derailed in like, you know, the petty squabbling and all that. So it's a difficult moment. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process. And I think keeping that in perspective is going to be really helpful to move through like all the all the drama that ensues when things change. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll be back soon with more messages.